Welcome to video 5 of our series on free traffic. And in this particular video lesson, we're going to talk about how you can use social networks to drive free traffic to your websites, blogs, sales pages, and so on. Now, with social networking, it's a little bit of a different beast than some of the ones we've talked about so far. The reason being is that I see people using social media the wrong way, and I see it happening quite often. And if you use it the wrong way, it's pretty much going to be a waste of time, in my experience, anyways. So let's get into the topics, then I can explain a little bit more about what I mean here. First of all, know right off the top that Twitter and Facebook are the two biggies that you want to get involved in. Facebook's the biggest site in the world, and Twitter is growing like crazy. It's a huge social networking site. It's also really easy to get involved with both of these. Twitter especially, it takes about 5 minutes to create a new account. You can be up and running. Then it's a matter of learning how to use it. Um, Now, when it comes to social networking, you really need to think about what the social sites have been designed to do. They're designed for you to be social, for you to meet other people, and to treat it almost as you would a social event in real life. And that's where people go wrong, is you don't go into a social site or a social situation in real life and suddenly start handing out your brochures trying to sell every single person you meet. You go out to social events and social engagements and you talk to people, you shake hands, you ask them about themselves, you ask them what they do for a living, and you get to know people. And when you make those contacts over time, a lot of those people can become business partners or they can become people who refer other people to you. And you need to think of social networking the same way. You need to have a little bit of patience when it comes to using social media. But the positive implications of doing it properly can mean a lot of free traffic coming to your website over a long period of time. So I said Twitter and Facebook are the big ones, but that doesn't mean you stop or end there. There's lots of different social networks that will appeal to different people with different tastes. So this is only just going to be a sort of an overview of what you could do. Um, the general idea here is that you want to promote your content. You want to use social networks to promote content that you're writing or that you're videotaping or podcasting or something to that effect. So if you think back to the lesson we did on blogging, blogging is something you want to promote through social networks. Articles is something you could promote through social networks. Or you can be active as a blog reader. Like if you're a blog commenter and you're leaving lots of blog comments to promote your sites, you can use your social network contacts and deliver value to those social network contacts by sending them to interesting blog articles that you've written. If you're spending an hour a day doing blog commenting to drive traffic, you're probably going to read some pretty interesting articles. Maybe you read an article about how to save money on your next trip. Well, that's a great piece of content that you can send out to your Twitter people or to your Facebook people. And it's not spammy, it's actually not selling anything, but it's delivering value to them. And every time they see you doing that, they're going to in the back of their mind, thank you for sharing such good information. So down the road, when you do want to send them something a little bit more self-serving, like an article you've written, the example I'm thinking right now is the article I wrote in the previous video, or two previous videos from this one, where I wrote an article about quitting your job. I can, if I'm building a friendship network on these social sites, I can send all of my followers to that new article, and hopefully some of them click through and read it. And of those people that read it, maybe they'll retweet it out to their Twitter followers or they'll share it with their Facebook friends or whatever. So it's a great way for your content to potentially go viral, assuming you've built some good relationships in your social networks. So the idea here is that when you publish content, you notify your friends that you've done it. Um, when it comes to Twitter itself, you can build a network really quickly by using Twitter search to engage people. So I showed an example in an earlier video of using Twitter search to look for new blog posts. Well, you can also use Twitter search to search for anything else that you're interested in. For example, I'm interested in basketball, so I have a Twitter search that I often use for people talking about either playing basketball or watching it, or if they're fans of the NBA. These are people that I can connect with just because it's a hobby of mine. I don't spend a lot of time on it, but it's something I'm interested in. If I see somebody else talking about a topic, around the NBA that I'm also interested in, then I'll follow that person. I might even send them a Twitter message, either publicly or privately, saying something to the effect of how I'm a mutual fan, and they'll get to know me. And there's a lot of people I've met that I talk to all the time now on Twitter because we have a similar interest either in sports or business or something like that. So Twitter is a great way of doing that. And just again, using the search or using something like TweetDeck, which I showed, you can see people talking about things that you're interested in. Follow those people, engage in conversations with those people. They get to know you over time, and they'll very likely click through the links that you publish for them or just for the Twitter universe in general. Again, remember that this is social networking. It's not a place to spam or just be overly salesy. It's okay to send people to a sales page. If you have a new product that you released and you want to tell your followers and your friends about it, that's one thing. You don't want to use your social networks to just send out, and I see people doing this. They send out an offer or a discount or some promo code or some really stupid sales pitch every hour to their people, and they're not talking about anything else. They're literally just using social networks to sell. That's not the way you do it. A sales message here and there is fine, but use the social network what it's designed to do, and that's to be social. Focus on quality and not quantity. I seen the biggest one that came to mind here is that I see people using like these Twitter tools that lets you add followers at a ridiculously fast rate because people all have this social proof um, obsession where they need they want to have 10,000 and 20,000 followers, which is not even realistic. Focus on the quality of the relationships you're developing. I know a couple people, they have maybe 200 or 300 followers on Twitter, but they get huge blog traffic from those 200 or 300 followers because those are 200 or 300 people that they actually know and then they engage with and have good conversations with. And I've actually talked to people who've spent a lot of time unfollowing a lot of people that just weren't contributing to their social experience. So don't get caught up in this idea that you need to have a huge quantity of followers to be significant. A couple hundred followers on Twitter or Facebook is more than enough if you focus on the quality of those relationships to drive some pretty serious traffic to your to the content that you're publishing. So remember that when you're doing social networking. I also want to touch on LinkedIn a little bit. Twitter and Facebook are going to be kind of the main ones I demonstrate, but LinkedIn is a pretty big social network from a business perspective. If you've ever had a job in any kind of large organization or you've had your own company, you can use LinkedIn to connect with people that you've either done business with, who have been your customers. Maybe you used to work with them and they were a colleague of yours. Maybe they were your boss, or maybe you were their boss. And I've used LinkedIn to connect with a couple hundred people that I've either done business with or met throughout my 10 plus year career since I left my university days. And every single one of those contacts is somebody that knows me pretty well because we've done business together. And if you've done business together, then you've likely spent some time together. And when I send out an article or a blog post that I've done to my LinkedIn followers, quite a few of those people will read it and will either comment on it or I'll at least check my stats and see that, hey, look at that, 20 or 30 links came in from LinkedIn alone. It's pretty cool to know. Um, I've also used LinkedIn to connect with people I've met in the past, asked for referrals, and done business. In one specific example, I had a new course that I was offering for search engine optimization, and I sent out the notice to a few of my LinkedIn people. One of the ladies got back to me and said, "Hey, I have a friend who just started his own social media company. He's looking for some help with search engine optimization." We hooked up, and I ended up making a $2,000 sale through just one simple LinkedIn connection. And I mean, I can cite lots and lots of examples where using social networking not only drives traffic, but can drive business in general. So, having said all of that, let's actually look at some strategies, some actual examples that you can use when it comes to driving traffic through social networks. All right, so for the social networking demo, what I want to do is kind of just remind you of the process that we're following here. I'm building traffic. The overall purpose here is to drive traffic to this sales page. But when it comes to social networking, you kind of want to think of it as a couple of steps process. This is my what I want to call my money site, and I have feeder sites which feed traffic to my money site. So I have, let's focus on the two that I have right now, although you could make an argument that I have more than these two. But I've got my coaching blog, which has quite a few daily readers, and then I have my personal blog, which is pretty new and doesn't have quite the readership, but I have a number of lists that I've built that I can send traffic to. And the idea here is that I want to use both this Ignite Your Essence coaching site and my personal blog as feeder sites to feed traffic to my sales page. And the way this fits in with social networking is that I want to use social networking to advertise, quote unquote, the content on this blog and on this blog. And then I'm going to use the content within those blogs to then filter traffic over to the sales page. So it's basically like a three-step process. And obviously the traffic's going to drop off. When I send people to this site, they're going to read the article and leave, although I'm hoping a certain percentage of them will just simply click this book cover. And I can have some articles, kind of like the one I wrote earlier, that specifically promote that product as well. But you need to be a little bit more subtle about it when it comes to social networking. So what we're going to do here is, let's first start off by taking the example of the article I wrote earlier, Reasons for Quitting a Job. The easiest thing to do from a social networking perspective is take this article or this particular blog post, sorry, and share it with my social networks. The ones I want to focus on right now are Twitter and Facebook. So I've already actually, you saw me share it using the Twitter link. I can do that again. In fact, I can tweet it out a number of different times, and I can also click the Facebook link and have it, share that with my Facebook people. So let's do it on the Facebook one just so you can see that. And here's what we're going to do is just say reasons for quitting a job. So quick article I wrote for my personal blog. Okay, so we'll share that on Facebook. And that gets updated to my Facebook profile. So if I go to facebook.com and go to my home page, you can see my latest update with my hilarious picture here is that. So people will now see that. And I don't have a huge number of Facebook friends, I had a few hundred, but I get decent traffic because those are friends, people that are fairly interested in what I'm doing. So that's promoting it to Facebook. I can also tweet it again. So going back to the article itself, if we just go back here and go into it, I can tweet it out once more. I'll just, in this case, use the tweet button that's at the top. This is through a plugin that's been installed, Tweet Meme, on my blog. Reasons for quitting a job. So I tweet that. Again, I'm tweeting something I've tweeted earlier, but I'm just pushing out content. The people that were online earlier probably are not online right now. So a whole new series of people are now seeing this. So I don't mind tweeting things more than once. Although I don't want to just be tweeting my content and Facebooking my content, right? I want to use Twitter to uh, to engage with lots of different people. So this is my tweet deck window again. What I might want to do at this point is see, there's my tweet popping up right there. Reasons for quitting a job. I might go in. This is going to be a little bit forced here, but it's actually not a bad example. This guy has a kind of a cool quote, so I'm going to use TweetDeck to retweet that because I kind of like that saying. And then people see that I'm not just using Twitter to promote my own content, but I'm actually engaging. I'm retweeting other people's stuff as well. So I'm doing this kind of quickly, but you get the idea. It's not all about you. Make it social. Share your stuff, absolutely, but also share other people's stuff and talk to other people as well. So I just retweeted his message there out to my followers. So that's how you can use Twitter and Facebook to promote your content. But again, think about what's happening here. I'm promoting content to a blog post. This blog post then promotes traffic to my money site. So it's not traffic that's going to bring me sales in the next few minutes. But if I do this over a long period of time, and if I write lots of articles that push people towards this product and share it on social networks over and over again over a long period of time, then I will start seeing a residual impact, residual effect to that. And what I like to do is check my stats at the end of every couple weeks and see where the traffic came from. So for the quityourjobmanual.com, in a few weeks, I'm going to go back and see where were all my visitors arriving? How were they getting to my homepage? Was it from my articles that I wrote? Was it from blogs? Were they coming directly from Twitter? Did I happen to tweet that, the landing page? It really depends on what I was doing at the time. So having said all of that about social networking, really, when you think about what you're doing, you're sending social networking traffic to a feeder site like a blog, which then sends traffic to a money site. So in order for social networking to really work, you need to work the networking side of it. The more quality people you build, just like I said on the slide at the beginning, the better of those relationships that exist, the better the traffic that will come to your sites. And so the real work lies in developing those social networks and then following this process that I just showed you. You still need to be creating content to promote on those social networks, but if you don't have any relationships, then sending it to the network isn't going to help you at all. So spending time manually, like going into Facebook, going into Twitter, and talking to people is highly recommended. But then you can use some tools like Social Oomph. It used to be called Tweet Later. Tweet Later. So let's just type in Tweet Later, and I think it takes you to Social Oomph. And you can get a free or a paid version of this. I'm not going to go through this whole lesson or this whole tool here. I'm just going to talk about it because there's so many tools you can use to, especially for Twitter. Social Oomph actually lets you integrate with Facebook as well if you have the professional edition. But what it lets you do is schedule tweets for a later time. That's actually the first feature they list here. And so what you can do is you might want to go a week at a time and schedule, 4 or 5 times a day. I want to schedule a tweet that goes out and promotes, like really goes out and does a hard promotion of some of my best content. So for me, I might want to at 12 noon every day of the business week promote this article that I wrote because I know there's going to be certain people on at certain times a day and I want to hit them. And because they might not see when I tweet it in the morning, but they will see it if I tweet it at lunch. And you can set that up to tweet it later on and do that 50, 60, 70 times throughout a week. It doesn't mean that you do all of your tweeting and Twitter messages on autopilot with this like the set and forget plan, but you can schedule your content promotion, your strategic stuff that you want to use to sell your products to go out at a certain number of intervals per day. And then while that goes out, spend real time in Twitter actually talking to people, engaging with people, following them. If you get a new follower, maybe welcome them or ask them a little bit about themselves, retweet a quote like you saw that I did. Um, and even in your scheduled tweets, you might want to schedule some time to promote other people as well. If you're following somebody who you really believe in and you like their content, schedule a tweet for them too. You could have a list of stuff that you want to share with your followers. Maybe you spend a Saturday afternoon reading a whole bunch of blogs and you find 7 or 8 blog posts that you just loved. Well, schedule those to go out one per day, at a certain time, and that goes out later on through Social Oomph. It doesn't have to be something you do in real time, but it's a great way again of building your Twitter profile. Um, for the people who are following you are going to see that you're in it to make friends, to network with people, to share good content, and they are going to have absolutely no problem with you promoting your own content yourself, because you're not just sending them to sales and landing pages. Again, you could do that once in a while, but you're sending them to your own content, which happens to sell your stuff, but at least it's content that they can choose to consume. They don't have to, and they know that you're still going to be there and talk to them and hang out with them if they don't click on all your salesy stuff. So it is a longer process. It's definitely a good thing to do because you develop long-term relationships, good social relationships that obviously help business. So it's definitely a good thing for you to consider. And there's lots of different tools that you can look at that goes beyond Social Oomph. There's one called Super.su.pr, which is from StumbleUpon. You can actually get the plugin for your blog so that when you write a new blog post, it automatically sends it to Facebook and Twitter automatically for you. So you don't even have to worry about doing it. I actually don't use that feature. I prefer to hand tweet it and hand Facebook it because for me it forces me to go and use Twitter and Facebook for a little while each day or each time I write a blog post. And it's something that I sometimes forget to do just because of how busy I am doing some of these other free traffic strategies and among other things. So again, focus on promoting your content, building your network, and letting it happen over time. Don't rush it. Enjoy the process, enjoy the people you meet, and you'll get great benefit from social networking.